Hello and good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, I should say. And to those that are across the ocean, good evening and good morning to some of you. My name's Lori Harris. I am your host of Maximize Excellence, and I am the partner of Harris Whitesell Consulting. We are a talent management HR firm, and we're headquartered in Wilmington, North Carolina, and work all around the world and throughout the U.S. So I'm pretty honored today. I have a guest today that I think for the women leaders that are out there and for all of our other leaders that are out there in this world, I'm excited about our guest today. She does great work in the world of enterprising women. So let me go ahead and I'm just going to briefly, Monica, welcome. Welcome to our show.
Thank you, Lori. It's great to be with you.
Great. Monica, I'm gonna read a little bit about you, and this may take a moment or two because you're a very accomplished woman and I admire you greatly. And so I want our audience I want to share this with them because a lot of the things that we're talking about are relative to your bio and it's quite rich. So I definitely want to share with them a little bit about you. And first and foremost, Monica's the editor and publisher of Enterprising Women, which is a national and now global magazine that her and her team launched back in May of 2000. And this magazine is a voice, and it's a strong voice for women entrepreneurs and enterprising women. Monica also serves as the president of the Enterprising Women Foundation. This nonprofit she founded in 2010 to encourage philanthropy among women entrepreneurs and supports initiatives to strengthen women's entrepreneurship in the U.S. and globally. And the annual Enterprising Women of the Year Awards is in its 22nd year and honors the top 100 women entrepreneurs from around the globe at a 2-day event, and that's held in the spring of every year. So those things we're going to talk about, but I also want to mention Monica also serves on the board, or she served on the board of directors for the Institute for Economic Empowerment of Women. And she did that for 11 years. And she was also a mentor in the Peace Through Business program, working with Rwanda and Afghan women entrepreneurs for over 17 years. And in January 2024, the Enterprising Women Foundation assumed responsibility for the Peace Through Business program that's now expanded into Uganda, Canada, and the United Kingdom. Monica's an award-winning journalist, and she has more than 45 years of magazine publishing experience and has been the recipient of numerous awards. Recently, the 2023 Stevie Award for Lifetime Achievement in Business, the 2017 National NAWBO Gillian Rude Business Leadership Award, and the first Adrienne Hall Award presented in 2009 by the Women's Presidents Organization in recognition for her work to build bridges and alliances with women's business community, and the President's Award and Innovator of the Year Award from the Women Impacting Public Policy. Monica received the 2013 Gold Stevie Award for Women Helping Women and the International Alliance for Women's World of Difference 100 Award in recognition of her working with economically empowered women around the globe. And Folio magazine named Monica to its 2015 list of top women in media, and the Folio 100 top leaders in magazine media for 2018. Incredibly accomplished. And then to go further, in 2015, Monica was recognized by STEM Connector and Million Women Mentors Program for her work with Enterprising Women's Foundation National Mentorship Initiative to inspire the next generation of young enterprising women. The STEM Connector Million Women Mentors also named her its 2019 Entrepreneur of the Year, and she received the 2016 Athena National Leadership Award. And then in May 2021, inducted into the North Carolina Women Business Owner Hall of Fame. Woo! You're busy, girl. You're very, very busy. But I also want you to know that Monica serves on the National Association of Women Business Owner National Advisory Council and is a board chair for the Raleigh, North Carolina-based Institute of Consumer Money Management, which invests in research on financial literacy. Monica's been a speaker and a delegate at the Global Summit of Women in Morocco, Germany, China, Chile, Turkey, Greece, France, Switzerland, and Spain, and I think recently Italy. Correct, Monica? Didn't you guys?
Madrid was actually the last one.
Okay, there you go. And Monica is also founding partner in the Women Business Collaborative and serves as co-chair of the WBC Entrepreneurship Committee. Monica holds a bachelor's degree in journalism from Bradley University out of Illinois and resides in Apex, North Carolina. She's a mother of 2 sons, a stepmom to 3 adult children, and she's got 9 grandchildren. Incredible, incredible. Very inspirational as well, Monica. Welcome.
Oh, thank you, Lori. My goodness, you did not have to read that entire bio.
I think so, because it's, for me, these, this dialogue I want to have with you, it's all relative, and I, these honors, these accolades, these recognitions come from this deep hard work that you do for all these years that you've been doing this, and very deserving. And yet I think as we go through some of these questions I have for you in this dialogue, people are going to see there's some amazing programming and opportunity for women to get involved and for women to truly lift other women up, to network and to do business in a way that creates value, creates opportunity, it creates growth. It's a lot of fun. And I could go on. So I think it was pretty relative to share with our audience, definitely, who you are and the impact that you've made so far, because you're not done, right?
No.
By far. I'm just getting to know you, and I just know you got a lot more in you. So I want to just, first of all, Lynn and I are part of Enterprising Women, and now with the Advisory Council, and participating also, took the lead for the Young Enterprising Women Forum here in Wilmington. And I got to say, we're truly excited and inspired about this and getting to meet these other women and doing a lot of work. But you're getting ready to celebrate 25 years with Enterprising Women magazine. So why don't you share a little bit about how you started the magazine back in 2000?
Sure. Well, thank you so much, Lori, for all that. And thank you for your leadership on the Wilmington Young Enterprising Women event. And I know we'll talk more about that later, but we're so excited to work with you on it. Absolutely. Well, going back a few years, and first I have to say it's a little scary, but I'm going to be 70 next year. So, it's a big number coming up. But I've been in the magazine publishing industry for many, many years, pretty much from almost right out of college. And my husband, John Dancer, also was a journalist and had a very similar background. So we actually started a publishing company together. We worked together on a magazine in the photography industry for a number of years, and then launched a company together, and really helped a number of people start publications who maybe had the financial resources but didn't have the day-to-day know-how to start a magazine. So we started magazines in a number of different industries. And as I was approaching, my 40th birthday or so, I was thinking about the fact that I really wanted to do something that I was passionate about, that in a field that I really loved. And we took a look around, and having been a woman entrepreneur myself for many years, I knew what was out there for women business owners, and it really wasn't much.
Mhm.
If some of your listeners are old enough, they would remember a magazine called Working Woman Magazine, which was out there in the late 90s. It reached everyone from someone right out of college getting their first job all the way through to women entrepreneurs. So it was such a huge audience that there certainly was no way that you could really address the needs of a woman entrepreneur in a magazine like that. They ended up actually going out of business. I think the year after we started, they had investors come in and put a lot of money in. And one day they just said, hey, you're done. But we did some research on women business owners and the market, and ended up coming across Enterprising Women. It was a title that existed in the mid 1990s. It was actually owned by a man who had worked with the NAWBO chapter out in Los Angeles. And they produced it for about 3 years. It went out of business, but they had left the website up. So as we were researching, we came across the website. I reached out to them. I ended up flying out to Los Angeles, and we bought the trademark rights to the Enterprising Women name, a few boxes of files, etc., and pretty much relaunched it then in 2000, really with the idea that we felt women needed a magazine that could be their voice, that was women sharing the best practices of other women entrepreneurs. And so, that's really how we got started. And it began as strictly a print magazine. Within a short time, we started producing the digital magazine. And today, most of our readership is on the digital side. Although I love print magazines, and will probably always produce a magazine that you can hold in your hands. I still, as an old magazine publisher, I still value having a magazine you can hold. So
Yeah, I like both actually. And
yeah.
and so that kind of leads me into my next question, because publishing models have changed throughout the last 25 years greatly, and even with just print itself, the dynamics there. But how has Enterprising Women evolved through those years? So you mentioned quickly that you started with print, but talk a little bit more in depth about that and the evolution that you've got now. Because there's an app as well there's lots.
Yeah, exactly. And most of our readership is on the digital side now. But one of the reasons that we started to work with a digital publication is I had an opportunity to attend something called the Global Summit of Women. And you mentioned that in your introduction. One of our longtime board members, who has been with us from the beginning, Irene Natividad, started something called the Global Summit of Women. And this is an event that happens somewhere in the world. It moves to a different continent every year, and it's for women entrepreneurs, high-level corporate women leaders, high-level women in government from kind of the cabinet level and higher. Very cool event, and I've attended it for a number of years. So the first time I went was in Marrakesh, Morocco, and it was not too long after 9/11. Everybody said, oh my gosh, I don't know if you should be doing this, but I went. It was an absolutely fabulous experience. And I had the print magazine with me, just one box, put them out on a table, went to use the ladies' room, came back, and they were gone. And then for 6 months, I had people emailing me from all over the world saying, okay, what do we do to get a magazine like this in our country? Because there isn't anything like it. And so it became pretty obvious that, it's tough to mail a print magazine all over the world. It became pretty obvious that we needed to have a digital magazine. So when we did that, within about 6 months, we had readers in 50 countries. And today we have readers truly all over the world. So it has made a huge difference being out there digitally. And then, as you said, readers can access it through the app. That's a great way as well. But the print magazine we keep out there to send to conferences. We send it to our leadership lists. And it's great to be able to do both. And it's available on our website. So if your listeners just go to enterprisingwomen.com, click on the front cover of the magazine on the homepage, put your email address in, the magazine will open up for you. So it's an easy way for them to take a look at it.
Yeah. And each month you load this magazine with featured articles. There's events, there's information for connectivity and access to, and of course there's opportunity for advertising as well to this audience. Very powerful magazine, and we're honored to be supportive of that as well. So yeah, thanks Monica for what you do there. It's well read. How many readers do you have now, both digitally and print?
So the digital magazine reaches about 1 million women entrepreneurs in 185 countries.
Yeah.
And we have partnerships with all the major women's business organizations. So we promote it out to their lists. And so that's one way that we reach a lot of women. And then, I know we'll talk about it, but we also have our Enterprising Women of the Year program, and that creates a lot of attention, a lot of interest as well. The print magazine is limited to a few thousand that we, again, produce for primarily to be able to send into a conference, and our previous Enterprising Women Award winners, receive it. As you know, you're on our advisory board. We have a pretty incredible advisory board with about 150 women on it. So people like that, receive it. Sort of, I guess you would say, thought leaders in the women's business community receive the print magazine as well.
Right. And great topics. I mean, the topics are kept up to date. They're informative. They're resourceful. Great topics, great articles. So you started the Enterprising Women of the Year Awards program in 2003. How's that program impacted the magazine and the women's business community? Let's dive into that program.
So the Enterprising Women of the Year Award started with 3 winners in 2003.
Wow.
It grew out of a conversation that I had. We put a woman named Rona Silver on the front cover of the magazine. The year before, we were doing an issue that had a cover story on women in the food industry. And Rona at that time led the largest women-owned catering business in the country. So I did an interview with her. She's on Long Island, or was at that time. And she said, well, first of all, if you're doing this, I should be on the cover. And we agreed, and we put her on the cover. And she said, if you ever want to do anything in the New York area, let me know, and I'll be glad to host it for you. And I said, well, I was thinking about doing a special issue to honor some women, maybe choosing 10 or 20 women and featuring them in the issue. But it would be really fun to do something in person and actually have them there. She said, done, happy to do it. So there was also, it happened coincidentally, an exhibit that was starting to travel around the country to museums called Enterprising Women, 150 Years of American Women in Business. And it had nothing to do with us, but it was using our trademark name. And we reached out to them. And I remember at the time, a trademark attorney said, Harvard was involved in it. And there were, Ford was a sponsor. And the attorney said, do you really want to fight these people? Why don't you just see if you can join them? So we reached out and said, hey, we love what you're doing. Could we be a partner and be involved in this? And because this is our name. And they said, yes. So when the exhibit opened in New York, we actually hosted the first Enterprising Women of the Year Awards at the museum where this exhibit was opening. So the guests walked the exhibit. And then our friend Rona Silver created this just completely over the top reception with, flowing chocolate fountains and lobster hors d'oeuvres. And I just said, I will never be able to top this. I mean, this is just so incredible. So we worked with her for the first couple of years. And then, we had also set up the advisory board for the magazine in 2003. And we had small number of women business owners who were involved at that time, probably under 20. And we had a few corporations involved, and Disney had come on the board. And the representative for Disney came to the reception And she said, Monica, this is fabulous. This needs to be an event. It should be a couple of days. If you would come down to Disney, we would be happy to be the premier sponsor of it. And let's turn it into a full event. So we asked our, at that time, smaller advisory board, and they said, hey, as long as you don't put it someplace with too many screaming kids, yeah, let's do it. So we went down to the Grand Floridian at Disney, and it became a 2-day event. Originally heavy on the celebration side, not so much on the extra content side in terms of workshops and so forth. But as the event grew, we really built it out to a program that was a place where we could really share best practices and put a lot of educational content to it. On the award side, the growth was pretty incredible. Again, we started with just 3 awardees the first year. And it grew gradually. The next year, I think we had 14, and then we had 25. And today we name 100 women entrepreneurs every year. In the early years, the highest revenue category for a winner was businesses with over 10 million in annual revenue. So it was under $1 million, up to 5 to 10 and over 10. And I recall at the time reaching out to Dr. Marcia Firestone, who founded the Women Presence Organization, which, has been around now for years, and you have to have at least $1 million in revenue to be in this group. And I said, where in the world am I going to find women entrepreneurs who have 10 million in revenue? And she said, I don't know, Monica, but we'll see if we can find them. And we laugh about it now. I mean, literally that was, 3 years ago. But so by, I guess, a couple of years into it, we said, you know what, we've got enough people with at least 25 million. Let's set the bar higher, and the top category will be 25 million. Well, today the top category is businesses with over 100 million in revenue. And every year we have at least one woman who has over $1 billion in revenue. So, when we think back at how the women's business community has grown, how women have learned to scale their companies to, amazing heights, and just the diversity in the types of businesses today, in those early years, most of those companies were perhaps HR companies, or, they were in 2 or 3 fields where you could see higher revenue. Today, we see absolutely everything you can imagine, from companies with huge government contracts. I always love to use this example. A few years ago, we had a woman who was an engineer with a drone company, and all her company does is count things, like fish in the ocean, animals in the Andes, like who starts these businesses, but we love seeing that. We just love that, women are doing absolutely everything now. And, there's no end to what can be done. Right. And scaling them so incredibly.
Very, very, and very pioneering still in these opportunities that are coming up as well. It's completely inspiring. And the event, these women come from all over the world, and beekeepers, and like you said, these drone companies and bottling companies, and you name it. And it's very, very inspirational to hear them speak, to sit down and dialogue with them, to celebrate them. Very, very powerful. So I'm curious, in 2014, you and your team started the Enterprise Women Foundation, and it's the sister nonprofit to the Enterprising Women magazine. What made you decide to start the foundation? And by the way, happy 10-year anniversary.
Thank you. Well, it had always been my dream to have a companion nonprofit organization to the magazine. And, the original mission was just providing education and inspiration to help women entrepreneurs grow their businesses in the U.S. and globally. So a pretty broad mission. We became involved in a program in 2014 called STEM Connector. One of our longtime advisory board members from the very first year that I started the advisory board, a woman named Edie Frazier, who's based in Washington, D.C., and is just this absolute dynamo in her 80s now. She's been a serial entrepreneur, just incredible background. And Edie started this organization, basically working with corporate corporate leaders, universities, girl serving organizations like the Girl Scouts and Girls Inc. and others. And it was really a coalition really to focus on encouraging more young women, high school, college, and beyond, to choose one of the STEM fields, just looking at the great disparity in the number of young women getting into those fields. And so we became a partner the first year. Now there are, I'm sure, more than 500 partners, but at that time we were one of the 60 original partners, and we were the only partner with an entrepreneurship connection. Now there are many others, but we said, okay, what could we do to make a difference? They had an initiative called Million Women Mentors, with a goal to establish mentorship relationships with at least 1 million young women. It far exceeded that goal. I think it was closer to 4 million mentor matches that they did. But we looked around and we said, okay, we have this large community of women entrepreneurs across the US. How about we create an event that we can do at high schools? It began as a 2-hour event. Now it's a 3-hour event. But where we showcase women entrepreneurs from the local community who are leaders of STEM-based businesses. So women who own engineering companies, IT companies, healthcare companies, et cetera. And then because the M in STEM is for math, as you know, I always felt like that could bring in other kinds of businesses as well.
Right.
So the idea was for the girls to have about a half-hour session where they listened to these leaders and engaged with them. Really talking about building resiliency and how do you find a mentor, and, you know, how do you, not just hearing their stories, but really how do they overcome challenges to really help the young women in the room think about how they in turn could overcome challenges in their own lives. And then to do what we call small group mentoring, where we have one adult at the table with a group of 6 or 8, maybe as many as 10 young women, and really listening to those girls talk about what they're interested in. And as I've done these, you know, all over the country now, you know, I occasionally will go to an event where the girls will say, you know, I'm great in math, or maybe I'm great in science, but I have no idea what I want to do with it. And then we go to somewhere, the counseling is obviously really good and they know exactly what they want to do. You know, I want to go into biotech because, you know, but, you know, we see a little bit of everything. And so that was the original program that we started 10 years ago. Today, we have added a financial literacy component to the program, which we're really proud of. I happen to serve on a board here. I have for the last 10 years for a group called the Institute for Consumer Money Management, or ICMM. They developed a program. They fund research basically on financial literacy issues. And it was founded by a friend of mine, Diane Chen, some years back. But they did a $1 million grant to Duke University and NOVA to create 3 games that teach financial literacy to kids ages 10 to 20. So I took a look at those and just thought, wow, wouldn't it be great to incorporate that into the Young Enterprising Women program? So we began this partnership with them about 3 years ago. We now have incorporated a 90-minute program on financial literacy into our program. We think it's really important for these young women who are getting ready to get out in the world. They have to think about how they're going to fund a college education. They're probably going to get their first credit card. They're setting themselves up for a strong financial future. And our events always plant the seed of entrepreneurship as well, by showing women leaders who are CEOs or presidents of companies. Many of these young women have never met a woman entrepreneur before. And, you know, we like to say, get started in one of these fields, but someday think about starting a business. And here are some role models of some women who have done that, with the idea that you can't be what you can't see, right? Mm-hmm. So, that is, today our program is made up of the financial literacy component, the panel with the women entrepreneurs and women business leaders in their community that we hope that they can relate to, and the small group mentoring element that we think is so important. And we're very proud of the program. I think for the fall of this year and winter and spring of next year, will be, it looks like, in about 28 cities across the country. The events are scaling to larger events now. For example, I know your event in Wilmington is going to have, schools from the entire county involved, which we love. We are doing a big event here in Raleigh that will be at NC State University that will have students from 35 high schools participating.
Wow.
We expect about 400 to participate in that program.
Wow.
So we're seeing this across the country where sometimes it'll start with one school and then it will grow to 3 schools or 5 schools. And then maybe the whole school district or the whole county, which is really exciting.
It is. So let's talk a little bit, continue this conversation on this topic. And you've talked about how it's grown, and where do you see it headed in the next 5 years, 10 years? What do you see?
Well, and you and I have spoken about building out a richer mentoring component to it, where we can stay in touch with these girls, continue to impact them. We know that the research shows that's so important. We'd love to follow these girls all the way through college and beyond their first job. On the financial literacy side, the research institute we're working with would love to continue to know how this has impacted them and if they're making good financial decisions. We, of course, want to know if they've gotten into a STEM field or if they, have gotten into entrepreneurship in some way. So we're very interested in really sticking with these girls and, building out those relationships. And also there's just room for the program all over the country. Again, as in each city where we host the event, they always want us to come back. I've never seen us go into a city where they didn't say, please come back again. So this year we are going into new cities. We're going to be in Las Vegas for the first time, Providence, Rhode Island, Camden, New Jersey, all sorts of places, new cities this year. And really interesting. As you mentioned in my bio, we have just started running the Peace Through Business program. And they have reached out and said that they would like to do a Young Enterprising Women program in Kigali, Rwanda. And I've always felt that this program could have a global footprint, that it's a template that could be used anywhere in the world. And so that'd be really exciting. We've done some in Canada, but beyond that, we have not done them anywhere else in the world. So we're really... I
have goosebumps. Oh, that's lovely to hear. Congratulations. Well, let's shift into that. So you've recently shared that Enterprising Women Foundation has taken over the program that's dear to your heart, the Peace Through Business program. Talk about that program and how it's grown. And well, one, we already know about that it's picking up the Young Enterprising Women Forum, but talk about that program and share with the audience what that's about.
Yeah, absolutely. So that program was started about 18 years ago by a woman entrepreneur in Oklahoma City, Dr. Terry Neese. And actually, during the Bush administration years, Laura Bush reached out to Terry and asked her if she would create a program for women entrepreneurs in Afghanistan. And so it began in Afghanistan. And then the next year, it also started in Rwanda. The program basically is entrepreneurial training that we provide in person when possible. And so in Rwanda, we are doing the program in live classes. In Afghanistan, with the takeover of the Taliban, the program is as important as ever, but we are teaching it virtually now. And the woman who leads the program is now here in the U.S. in the Washington, D.C. area. And then it has several components to it. We do the classes. They write a business plan. They write a marketing plan. It has a mentorship component to it. They're matched with mentors. They have e-mentors in many cases, as well as they come to the U.S. for a leadership summit every summer. They've been doing that for years. We're excited for 2025 that we're actually going to host a Peace Through Business delegation in conjunction with the Enterprising Women Conference, which will be the end of March in Nashville. So that's going to give us a great opportunity to do separate programming for them before the Enterprising Women Conference. Then they will also be able to sit in and engage and be a part of the Enterprising Women program as well. And for years, we have given 1 or 2 Afghan and Rwandan women entrepreneurs the Enterprising Women of the Year Award. So, and I've always presented it at their leadership summit in the summer. So next year we'll be able to give it to them in the ballroom with cheering women, with the rest of the Enterprising Women Award winners, which I think will be really wonderful. And I'm excited for the Enterprising Women community to meet the women who will be a part of this program. Right. And I'm thrilled that it also gives us an opportunity to give some of the alumni of that program next level training by participating in the Enterprising Women Conference.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Lynn and I are pretty excited about it as well. You know, with us, we do leadership development and competency building, et cetera. And we know through our research how important it is for women to build leadership competency and leadership skills. And that there are key behaviors that truly do hold women back from success. And when we open up that dialogue and talk about those things, the dynamics of behavioral change over time, when there is mentorship and when there is coaching and when there is advisorship, the power of change, the transformation is unique unto each, however powerful because of the overall impact and effect. So we couldn't be more proud of what you've done and very, very excited to be a part of that as well. So thank you for everything you do there. Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, truly amazing. And, you know, the other thing, and you'll say this, I think you'll agree with this, is, you know, we truly are in global business, and uniquely, whether we're located in the United States or Rwanda or Afghanistan, excuse me, it's global. Business is global, and now, especially since COVID, we're more virtual than ever, and we're connecting to people from all countries everywhere. And the power of this is exponential.
Well, Lori, I've shared this story many times over the years, but the first global summit that I went to in Marrakesh, because it was not too long after 9/11, there were very few Americans there. And I was at a table with women from all over the world represented and many languages being spoken. There were, 2 or 3 languages in common, so we were able to communicate. But what struck me at the time was within about 10 minutes, we had all shared a little bit about our backgrounds. We had all, at that time, we didn't do it on our phones, but we had all passed around photos of our children. And I said, as hokey as it sounds, we all instantly created this bond and got along. And I said, if women ran the world, there would be peace on earth, because because it doesn't matter where we're from. We have so much in common, and we connect. Right. And and I still feel that way all these years later. Right?
And incredibly conscious in our process. Yeah. I love it. Especially in our critical thinking skills as well. We're very, very conscious in nature. So I love that. All right. We know Enterprising Women of the Year Award celebration and conference has been branded to Florida for many years because of that Disney opportunity and connection that you had. However, the conference for 2025, which is rapidly around the corner, is in Nashville, Tennessee. And so share about what you've got on the agenda and what you're planning for March in that conference. And you talked already about bringing in the Peace Through Business program, but there's so much to this conference, and it's a very powerful conference. So talk about that.
We are really excited about it. So first of all, it's the 25th anniversary of Enterprising Women. So we're going to have a big 25th anniversary celebration. And we've had board members of ours who stepped up and said, hey, we're all over this. We want to be involved. We want to help. And so we're going to be doing a little bit of a historical look back, kind of where we've all come from as a women's business community. What are those common themes? But probably more importantly, really a future forward look. What are the issues that we need to be talking about in the next 5 years, 10 years and beyond? And really identifying those themes and having that run throughout the conference, as well as the summer issue of the magazine next year will be the 25th anniversary issue. So we're excited about looking at all those innovations, working with our board members who are thought leaders, incorporating this into this anniversary celebration, again, bringing the Peace Through Business program into it. So it will have that flair. And then our Young Enterprising Women program, we didn't really share this element of it, but we have a scholarship component to it. So in every city where we host an event, our foundation underwrites one scholarship for a young woman to come to the Enterprising Women Conference. And then for the local groups that do a little fundraising, for every $2,500 they raise locally, we can award another scholarship. And so the young woman and one parent or guardian will travel to Nashville, and they'll get 2 days of leadership training, public speaking, self-confidence building. We'll match them with mentors. They bond as a group. And then we also have them participate in part of the Enterprising Women Conference. So they hear some of the speakers, and we do a big foundation luncheon where we have all the girls come up on the stage and really celebrate them. So for 2025, we're doubling the number of scholarships we're going to be giving. Last year it was 50. This year it will be 100. So we're going to have a big group of young women there. And I think between the 25th anniversary, the Young Enterprising Women and the Peace Through Business program, it's going to be a really fun week, right? Our date for March 27th to the 29th, and your listeners are welcome. Absolutely. And of course, we'll be naming 100 Enterprising Women of the Year award winners. So that's exciting. That opens up for nominations on October 1st on our website.
Okay.
And, we encourage your listeners, if you've been in business at least 3 years and you're women owned, or you're a partner, for example, in a law firm or accounting firm, et cetera, you can apply. There's no cost. There's no application fee, which is unusual for awards programs. Right. So we encourage you to do it. And we encourage the woman herself to apply. We have a lot of PR firms that like to jump in and do it, and that's okay. But the questions are quite personal. And so it's best if the woman herself applies.
Yeah. I want to say this about the young enterprising women who are scholarshiped and attend. My observation in my first year of attending last year definitely was one where the very first day that I saw these young women, they were very proper, very beautiful, very interested, very curious. And within an hour, all of a sudden, this openness, this curiosity began to bloom, and their dynamic. I always say the younger you are, sometimes you don't have as many barriers in place for communication, but their ability to open up and communicate and to share and to listen actively, because of curiosity, they engaged on a level that a lot of us, it inspired me to just be like them, which was very interesting for me because normally I feel so compelled to lead. And this time they actually led me in engaging more in the conference. And it became playful and it became joyful. And I walked away with an enormous amount of connections, support, ideas. And I attribute that to these young women that were there, and to watch their dynamic it inspired me. So it almost had a reverse effect. But I just think that to know that we're going to have double that amount, the energy is going to flow, and it's going to be wonderful for those of you that attend. And I highly recommend it for everybody. Take these couple days, and it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, correct? And partial Sunday.
It is. The Enterprising Women Conference is a Thursday to Saturday evening. The awards gala is on Saturday night this year. The Young
Yeah.
Enterprising Women are going to be with us the 28th to the 30th. So they'll actually be with us Friday to Sunday.
Yeah.
We like the girls to only have to take one day off of school. So Friday will be a travel day for them. And then we'll have a fun kind of bonding activity later in the day for them. And they'll come over and be a part of our program on Saturday. And we'll do our foundation lunch on Saturday. So, Lori, one thing we didn't mention is that in more recent years, we've really had a focus with the Young Enterprising Women program in working with girls from underserved communities. And
Yes.
so that's something that, in the beginning, pretty much we would host these events anywhere that we had an advisory board member who wanted to host one in her city. It wasn't particularly strategic. And then, we realized that we really needed to go into the area and look at where the need was the greatest.
Uh-huh.
And so the program has served many young women of color. We're very proud of the fact that it's we're putting the program, we think, where it's really needed the most.
It is. It's very inclusive. It's very dynamic. It's very diverse. And these young ladies, truly, their responses are phenomenal when they talk about the insight and the knowledge and the models that are shared, and just their ability to be inspired as well. So good job. I mean, the foundation of this program is phenomenal. It really is. All right, Monica, I want to talk a little bit about mission. And so you like to say that Enterprising Women is much more than a magazine, as are these programs. They're much more than just a program. And so you talk about how it's a community of women entrepreneurs who share best practices to support each other and help each other's businesses grow. Why or what drove this mission for you, and what purpose does it hold for you?
Well, from the very start of the magazine, we said that, we wanted to be Switzerland. We wanted to reach out to anybody who is doing anything positive to help women entrepreneurs, to promote women entrepreneurs. The door was open.
Yeah.
And we've always felt that way. We've always tried to be very inclusive. We joke about it really being a family. People have heard me say a million times that, we say we're like the mafia. Once you get into the family, you never get out. And it's part of the reason why our advisory board is so big, because we have women who've been on the board, for going on 20 years. And lots of them will even sell their companies. The only thing they'll continue to do is stay on our advisory board, because it gives them a way to stay connected, to be able to continue to share their wisdom and their best practices, and to have a platform to write and speak and, continue to do those good things. So, we just feel like we're all in it together. We want people to feel supportive. We want them to be inspired. Everybody needs that, right, to continue to grow. And to do what we do. We all know it's tough. You have to be resilient. You have to be taking risks. It's stressful. It's not easy. So of course you're going to want a community around you of like-minded women who can lift you up. And I've also shared this story before. In the very early years, one of our board members, Sharon Hadari, who just passed away this last year, and I was heartbroken about that. But we knew that her husband had been very ill, and it happened that he passed away right before the conference. And we just all assumed that she wouldn't come. Nobody even asked. We just thought, of course, she's not going to come. And she showed up at the conference, and she said, I thought about it, and there wasn't anywhere else that I wanted to be, because I knew everybody would wrap their arms around me. Right. Yeah. And I thought that's the kind of culture we want to build, where people feel seen. They feel like it's a safe place. They feel supported, and nobody's out there, to sell anything per se. People do end up, doing business and partnering, and good things come out of it business wise, but they don't necessarily go in there with that intent. It's really, and you can feel that in the room. And then I think because the Enterprising Women of the Year Award is really built around not only women who have reached a level of success with their companies, so they have financially strong growing companies, but we look for how they're giving back in their communities. And we also look at, are they mentoring? Are they supporting other women and girls? So if you get a group of women in the room who are all doing those things, they're financially successful with their company, they're leaders, they're giving back, they're philanthropic. They're just the kind of people that you want to be around. And I always say it's hard to have a bad conference when you have a room full of women like that together. You just know that it's going to be great.
I always describe my experiences with enterprising women and the foundation programs and all the women that I've met so far, and most likely the women I'll be meeting. They're fearless, they're remarkable, and they're women of excellence in all things they do, down to being a mother, down to being a grandmother, down to being a friend, a neighbor, all those roles that are played out. And it's just this amazing ability to share thought leadership. It's just depending upon what the topic of conversation is, but just fearless in all of that. And it's amazing. It's beautiful to be around that. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that is a common thread. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So in wrapping this up, there's a couple things. First is really quickly, thank you. I just publicly want to say thank you, Monica, for trusting Lynn and I and Harris Whitesell Consulting for hosting the first inaugural Wilmington Young Enterprising Women Forum here in Wilmington, North Carolina. It is going to be held at the North Carolina Aquarium. I'm very, very excited about this program. And the aquarium is partnering with us, and their biologists and their leaders are all going to be at the table. And we're bringing in women from a variety of organizations in the STEM and arts fields as well to support this. And, Dr. Rebecca Reeves is coming in, and we couldn't be more honored to have her with us to do the financial literacy workshop. I understand you're going to be with us, and that's going to be incredible for these young ladies. We've got 60 plus high school girls from New Hanover County schools who are going to be attending. And, Lynn and I have offered and dedicated some time on the schedule to help these girls begin to understand the dynamics of the basics of leadership competency and how that plays out in entrepreneurship. And of course, we've got right now, it looks like 6 women, very professional, powerful women in the STEMs field who are going to be on our roundtable, the mentor panel that Lynn is going to be leading. And then breaking out, we've got 30 local women professionals who are going to be mentoring our young ladies as well that day. So we've got a big day filled with a lot of good content, a lot of good fun. And thank you. Again, I couldn't say anything more than just gratitude. We appreciate this opportunity, and we look forward to seeing this really fold out into a program that could be and have touch points throughout the year. So do an annual process where you can hold virtuals to continue that development of those skill sets, and also maybe a couple socials that gives these girls ongoing opportunity to touch base with these local professional women. And then who knows, ultimately in our vision, in our minds, working with you to create an alumni group and be able to, like you said, track them through their career growth and through this process of learning and developing. And what does that mean? And how do we support that? How do we continue to take what we have within the foundation of all these women and with the Enterprising Women's Award? And how do we offer that up to and engage these young enterprising women, these young girls, into that type of culture and that type of environment? So you've got my heart, definitely. in this. I've been doing this kind of work for a long time, and this is the first time since probably 15 years now that I have found a program that is comprehensive and that provides the high quality level of tools, the excellence for these young enterprising women. I learned long ago to never underestimate them. And I used to do a lot of work with thousands and thousands of youth in high schools, and they were able to develop policy for their schools better, quicker, faster because of their level of curiosity, because of their insights and intuitiveness into uh, human behavior. And they didn't even know what they were doing, yet they had a voice. And they felt very strong about that and wanted to share that and find purposeful ways, meaningful ways to support that so that everyone could come to school, learn quicker, learn better, have more fun, be more engaged, and those campuses be more safe and equipped with the things that were needed for kids to learn and kids to grow and kids to thrive. So again, I can't commend you enough. We're tickled. We're excited to be a part of this.
Lori, we're so appreciative for your leadership with this event. Thank you so much for that. And it truly is a life-changing program. We use that phrase, and I've seen it. I think, of course, the leadership skills so important, but opening a door to a young woman, letting her think about a possibility for her future that maybe she's never imagined for herself, is just, it can change her life, right? So the feedback we get from the volunteers, the mentors, the school administrators, from the students themselves is all so positive that it's just a win-win for everybody. So
excellent.
Thank you again for all you're doing. We appreciate it so much.
Thank you. And for any women that are out there in my Wilmington region, southeastern North Carolina, reach out to me. There's lots of opportunity here. So please, I'm open to your interest in talking with you about this and seeing where the fit is. Let's fit you, because there's lots of opportunity in this program. And so lastly, I'd like to ask you to share some advice for a lot of these women that are out there running businesses, owning businesses, leading teams, leading organizations, and really, truly, thriving through the challenges, the circumstances, the situations that keep them on their toes. And what advice do you have for these women entrepreneurs and enterprising women who are listening or will be listening? Because this is like a coffee table book. Podcasts get listened to months and down the road. It's amazing how many ears we have on this. Anyway, or maybe those that are looking for inspiration to grow their companies. Monica, you've been doing this a long time, and you've been in this field for a long time. So I'm sure you could write a book on all the advice that you've got. But what's maybe one or two of the biggest things that you want to share and give advice about?
Thanks, Lori. I think so much of it is just, we hear this a lot, but being fearless, not being afraid to take a risk. If you really want to scale that company, if you want to grow it to new heights, you've got to stick your neck out there. And I think we all know that. And I don't ever like to stereotype anyone, but I think sometimes we can be risk adverse, right? We as women are responsible for so much. And so I think sometimes it makes us a little more cautious. But I think that if you do want to grow and scale your business, that you've got to be able to take those chances. And, we deal with some tough issues like accessing capital, et cetera, something that I've been spending a lot of time working on with some groups I'm involved with. We know it's not easy, but just don't be afraid to do that. If you need more support to do it, look around you. You've got this very powerful women's business community that's out there with women who have blazed trails, who have done it, who have taken those risks, and they're willing to share what they know. They're willing to be supportive of you. So you don't ever have to feel like you have to go it alone. there's no reason to do that. Take advantage of that for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with your statement. Never have to do it alone. And it's great that Enterprising Women exists. This is a very powerful organization. And it's one that, ladies, if you're listening, the beauty of this organization is that it's not a picture-taking organization. It's not a social media organization in a sense. We truly have meaningful, powerful dialogues and conversations and experiences. And I commend you, Monica. You've done a great job, and I'm sure it will continue for years to come because of the foundation you've established with this.
Thank you, Lori. And it really, for you and Lynn on the advisory board, we appreciate it. Our board is the backbone of what we do. And we probably wouldn't be here all these years later without them, frankly. They're so incredibly powerful in what we do, right?
I agree. Powerhouses. Yeah. Well, I just want to say thank you, Monica, again. And for everybody to touch base with you, is it all right if they connect with you on LinkedIn, if they reach out and connect with you on LinkedIn? Definitely.
Yes, absolutely.
I want to just highly recommend everybody to visit enterprisingwomen.com and just peruse that website and check out the magazine, check out the opportunity to engage in the conference. It's powerful, it's fun, it's enlightening. Also visit the foundation, and here it is, enterprisingwomenfoundation.org, and learn more about the two programs, the Young Enterprising Women, and help me out, Monica, in my brain.
Business.
Yes, thank you. Peace Through Business program. My brain just went blank at this point. And please, go ahead and open those conversations. Monica is pretty good at being responsive, and I've always experienced her to reply within a day or two. So thank you, Monica, for your leadership, and the ability and the opportunity to engage with these women is powerful. Thank you.
Thanks, Lori. It's been a pleasure.
All right, everyone. I appreciate your time today, and I look forward to our next show. I hope you join us again for another live broadcast of Maximize Excellence. Have a great day. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Maximize Excellence. Visit our events page on our website for details on upcoming podcasts, and visit our YouTube channel to listen to past episodes. And remember to ask yourself at the end of each day, did I do my best to maximize excellence today?